Then we have last presentation, which is on review of the international trading environment in Sri Lanka in the context of shipping hub. A. Rathnayake is here.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Anjali Rathnayake from Cynic Maritime Campus, and I'm a student. So my research is a review of the international trading environment in Sri Lanka in the context of a shipping hub. So this shipping hub is a buzzword in international logistics. So it is because of this reason that I chose to find out the factors that are affecting the international trading environment in Sri Lanka in the context of a shipping hub. So first of all, I'll point out the factors that I'll be discussing in my presentation. So Sri Lanka is very keen in developing itself as a shipping hub. This shipping is a derived demand of international trade. Therefore, trade facilitation is a key concept. And also, it's very important to consider about the logistics performance of a country, because this logistics performance affects the concept of shipping hub. And evaluating these logistics performance indicators is also important. To start with, first of all, I'll explain you the factors that are affecting the international trading environment. The demography, the institutions, the investments, the technology are some of the factors that are affecting the international trading. So when you consider this demography, the demographical changes in a country, the amount of investments that a country is putting on, and also the amount of investments that a country puts on the public infrastructure, it gives a chance for that particular country to enter into new trade markets. And also the differences in the technological levels of a country, and at the same time the trade policies that a country is coming up with, and also the treaties that they are signing, and also at the same time the natural resources of that particular country, apart from the labor and the land that they have, are very important factors that should be considered in international trading. So since I'm concerned about shipping hub, let's have a look at the factors that will facilitate trade, thus a shipping hub. First of all, the transparency in the regulatory system in Sri Lanka. Then the regulatory system of the neighboring countries, the bureaucracy that is existing, the provisions that are given to government officials to act as barriers, free trade, bureaucratic discretion, decentralization, financial controls, and public accountability. And also at the same time, I have considered the concessions that are given to facilitate trade. So this is my methodology. This is how I conducted my research. I did many interviews with many senior officers, as you all can see. And at the same time, many data was collected, secondary data was collected from many data sources. And now, at the beginning of my presentation, I told you that the logistics performance of a country is very important because it directly affects this concept of shipping hub. So I have done an analysis on the LPIs. So I have considered Singapore, UAE, India. So these are the shipping hubs that are situated around Sri Lanka. So I have compared their logistics performance with our country. So in this case, have a look at Singapore. In 2012, it has been on the top of the list. And in 2014, it has gone to the 5th position. It's the same with Sri Lanka, right? It has been in the 81st position in 2012, and it has gone down to the 89th position in 2014. But the factor that we have to consider here is that Singapore, UAE, and India, which are the shipping hubs that are situated around Sri Lanka, they have been able to maintain a consistency in their LPI, whereas Sri Lanka has not been able to. Just have a look at the table that is given below. In 2007, Sri Lanka has been in the 92nd position. In 2010, it has gone down to the 137th position. Again, in 2012, it has come to the 81st position. So, if we really want to compete with the shipping hubs that are situated around Sri Lanka, that's within Singapore, UAE and India, definitely Sri Lanka has to maintain a consistency in its logistics performance. The logistics performance directly affects the economy of a country. Therefore, if we really want to compete with those hubs that are situated around Sri Lanka, we'll have to maintain a consistency in its logistics performance. So this is the hypothesis of my research. That's firstly, the transparency in the regulatory system influences trade facilitation. The regulatory system of neighboring countries influence trade facilitation in Sri Lanka. Bureaucratic discretion by government officials obstruct the free trading environment. Regulatory framework in Sri Lanka provides provisions for government officials to act as barriers. Government officers in Sri Lanka create more barriers than what is legitimately provided by the regulatory framework. The bureaucratic discretion, the obsolete trading regulations affect international trading environment, and sufficient decentralization, strong financial controls, public accountability, and also the effective enforcement mechanisms of the concessions that are offered to international trade. So in order to find out whether these factors are having a significant relationship with trade facilitation, I carried out a chi-square analysis. So what I found out from this chi-square analysis is that the transparency in the regulatory system of Sri Lanka and the provisions that are given by the regulatory system in Sri Lanka for the officials to act as barriers, and also the concessions that are given to facilitate trade, they are having a significant relationship with trade facilitation. So finally, I came to the conclusion that this transparency in the regulatory system of Sri Lanka with respect to logistics and transport is having a significant statistical relationship with international trading environment, which in turn will impact this concept of shipping hub. And also, the regulatory framework in Sri Lanka provides provisions for government officials to act as barriers. The government officers in Sri Lanka create more barriers than what is legitimately being provided by the regulatory framework. The effective enforcement mechanisms of the concessions is also very important. So if these efforts are achieved, then we have the chance of enhancing this international trading environment in Sri Lanka in the context of a shipping hub. That's it. Thank you.